The documentary 13th, directed by Ava DuVernay, hopefully I said her last name right, explores the complex and unsettling relationship between mass incarceration, slavery, and the systematic denial of voting rights to African Americans. The film makes a clear claim that the criminal justice system in the United States is a present continuation of the same racial injustices that started with slavery. While the 13th Amendment outlawed slavery, DuVernay examines how it left gaps that allowed for the mass incarceration of African Americans, a practice that still has an impact on society today. An examination of the 13th Amendment opens the documentary. The amendment outlawed slavery, but it included a crucial clause that permitted forced labor as a punishment for crime. Black exploitation under the disguise of criminal punishment began after the Civil War, according to DuVernay, when this gap was used for the prosecution of African Americans. DuVernay explains how laws like Black codes and later Jim Crow laws were designed to arrest and imprison Black Americans for violations of some origin using historical footage and even expert interviews. Black inmates became more numerous as a result of this system, frequently being pushed into working for the government and businesses. The increase in mass incarceration in the later half of the 20th century is the second significant piece of evidence that was offered in the documentary. African Americans' arrests and incarcerations increased dramatically in the U.S. during the Reagan administration as a result of the war on drugs. The film had a huge emphasis on how Black neighborhoods were disproportionately targeted by the media, public leaders, and laws and regulations, such as the Three Strikes Rule. Key historical events are portrayed by DuVernay in the documentary, including the political campaigns of the 1980s that used racially charged terms like super predators. These incidents laid the groundwork for laws that incarcerated people of color, even when evidence indicated that drug usage was just as common in white areas. These practices, according to the documentary, were purposefully designed to take advantage of Black communities for financial and political advantage. The involvement of private prisons and financial incentives associated with the incarceration of millions of people provide the third supporting argument that DuVernay examines. The film explores the financial benefits that the prison industrial complex, which includes both government and commercial organizations, has received from locking up more individuals, especially from underprivileged groups. DuVernay links the growth of private prisons to the influence of businesses and sectors that benefit from the low cost of jail labor. She describes how these corporate organizations encouraged the building of more prisons and backed legislation that kept inmates in the system for extended periods of time through expert interviews. In the end, 13th concludes that American prison system is a direct continuation of racial practices that date back to the era of slavery rather than a collection of discrete issues. The movie or film documentary makes a strong case for a quick review of racial inequity and criminal justice by utilizing historical background, academic interviews, and an examination of current prison data. In order to achieve true justice, the documentary urges viewers to understand mass incarceration as a form of racial control that must be abolished rather than as a solution. DuVernay urges reform and an end to the reoccurring cycle of racial injustice in America in her researched and very deeply emotional work. The documentary concludes with a call for viewers to support campaigns to improve the criminal justice system and confront these injustices in their own communities. 13th offers an engaging examination of ways in which mass incarceration and institutional racism have influenced American culture. Ava DuVernay makes a very strong case for reform by pointing out the historical and current links between slavery and the criminal justice system. And overall, the documentary really pushes to reconsider what justice in America means and to aim for a time when millions of people's lives are not determined by history or even racial injustice.